So the Attorney General of the politicized, weaponized Joe Biden Department of Justice testifying before the House Judiciary Committee today, and there were rightly a lot of fireworks. We'll be joined by Chip Roy in just a minute, Congressman from Texas. But first, let me play Chip literally dressing down Garland over the Biden administration. They're not only not enforcing border laws, they're aiding and abetting in the law breaking. And I will add what I say all the time. We have tens and tens of millions of people from our top geopolitical foes, China, Russia, Iran, Syria, Yemen, Egypt, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, that have now entered this country unvetted, aided and abetted by Joe Biden. And, of course, that has now become, I think, the biggest national security threat we have. And it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when this country is going to have another 9/11 or worse. And then he will have more blood on his hands, like the cop shot in New York. I'm sorry. I blame Biden. He has blood on his hands for every crime committed by every Joe Biden unvetted illegal immigrant in this country. Anyway, here's Chip Roy from Texas.
I say, as the Attorney General and as a human being, that my heart goes out to the families, that these are terrible, terrible events. And I say, secondly, as the Attorney General, the way to stop people like this from coming into the United States is to give more resources to the Border Patrol so that they can prevent...
Mr. Attorney General, no.
You don't want
we the people of Texas, money's not going to solve the problem when the Department of Homeland Security and the President of the United States refuse to enforce the law, ignore the policies, and Lizbeth Medina would be here alive today if we were following the law. Lake and Riley would be here today if we had not released a killer onto the streets of the United States of America through parole policies that this administration is advancing. And the Department of Justice is suing the state of Texas in court, taking valuable resources to go against the people of Texas when Texas simply wants to say that we should have a say in stopping people who are illegally, arrest them, and be able to deal with that on our own terms when the federal government refuses to do its job.
Chip Roy, Congressman, great state of Texas, is with us. I'm glad you dressed him down. He doesn't seem to give an Adam shit at all.
Yeah, Sean, good to be on. I mean, look, we had a lot of good questioning throughout the hearing. I want to compliment Jim Jordan on the hearing. You had Matt Gaetz was firing away, Dan Bishop from North Carolina. I know a lot of your listeners, they're sick of hearings and sick of, strongly worded letters, as some will say. But it is important to highlight this stuff. And what we saw today was a attorney general who has no interest in trying to make sure that our nation is safer and more secure. And doing the things that the Department of Justice should be doing, because it's distracted doing political things. He acknowledged to me under oath before that exchange you just played that he had significant resources being drawn out of many, if not all, of the offices of the U.S. Attorney across the districts across the country to be deployed for targeting people that on January 6th and parading and all these different charges. And he's got all this focus, as I just pointed out in that clip, going after Texas, suing us in court to try to stop us from doing their job. Meanwhile, right, they're on the streets. Meanwhile, we've got elevated crime in this country. Meanwhile, we've got, less actual, completion of our investigations on crime around the country. So that's what's actually happening. And then importantly, my colleagues did a good job, and I raised this question too, of pointing out why we held him in contempt 2 weeks ago, right? Because he literally today admitted to me, hey, well, yeah, we've got this audio recording of President Biden. But
wait a minute. I have this exchange where you grill Garland claiming privilege on the Biden-her audio. Can I play it?
Sure.
Let's play it.
The Department of Justice did not assert privilege with regard to the transcript, correct?
That's right.
And you articulated a minute ago to my colleague that the best evidence rule says that the transcribed copy is admissible, right? But how can you claim privilege in the face of not just a legislative inquiry, but a constitutional impeachment inquiry? How can you claim privilege for something that you just testified was effectively the same thing? How can you claim privilege for the audio of the transcript you just testified was the same?
I just testified the words are the same. Sensing an audio is different. You have not given any explanation, and there's nothing in the impeachment resolution that would make a difference with respect to
I respectfully
audio.
disagree. I would ask you one last question. Is the decision not to prosecute President Biden for effectively the same crime for which DOJ is prosecuting President Trump, is it because DOJ has determined the president is not mentally fit to defend himself and stand trial for his crime, but former President Trump is?
I say again, that's an inaccurate description of Mr. Herr's report, and I would rest on Mr. Herr's report.
It's the only assertion he made. I yield back.
Wow. I mean, the idea that he's running interference this way is unbelievable.
On that particular point, because it's so front and center, obviously the border, we're about to get this back, that Biden has taken the mic as you and I are talking. But, we're sitting here and Biden announces a new border executive action. The border is front and center. But what?
Oh, by the way, you mean a border executive action that he said in January that he was not allowed to take? Is this the same guy with a stroke of the pen undid all of the Trump border policies that were working? Is this the same guy that lied for 3 years and said the border's closed and secure? That Biden?
Same Biden, and the same Biden who's been trumpeting that BS bill that was a sham bill, it was a fake bill, it was a cover vote bill by the Senate, which would have capped the limit at 5,000 people. Now this executive order apparently is going to make it 2,500. It still won't do any good, as the great Bill Malugin on Fox reported about an hour ago, that it wouldn't do a thing to stop parole. It wouldn't do a thing to stop unaccompanied children. It wouldn't actually cap it while they're still releasing people through parole and asylum inquiries. So this is all a sham because Biden knows he's in the tank. They're seeing President Trump. They're seeing the American people rally around President Trump because of the lawfare. So put a bow around this entire day. We've seen the clear politicization of the Department of Justice. You see the number 3 ranking guy, the deputy of the number 3 ranking guy, who goes up and is actually in Bragg's office in New York. Matt Gaetz had a great inquiry on that. You see them purposely choosing not to work with us on the Biden inquiry on impeachment. So they're going after Trump for the same charge, and they know exactly why, but they won't give us their documents. Meanwhile, they're going to go after Texas, sue us to stop us from securing the border of the United States. That is your current Department of Justice, while criminals run amok. And by the way, they still won't answer our question on January 6th. So I sent a letter yesterday, and I hope to have a hearing to try to run to ground what they've been doing with these parading charges and everything else. But the American people deserve answers. Obviously, we know what we need to do in November to try to get rid of these clowns that are destroying our country.
Let me play a cut. You mentioned your colleague Matt Gaetz a number of times, pushing Garland, who won't answer if he'll provide all the documents and communications with Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis, and their offices. Why wouldn't he be so transparent? This is supposed to be the most transparent administration ever. Listen.
Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
You make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about.
Wow, that was a pretty powerful moment. Of course he doesn't want to reveal it because we know that there was communication. How many trips did Fonnie Willis or Alvin Bragg or his surrogates or Letitia James, do we know if they took trips to the White House, Congressman?
Well, this is precisely what Mr. Gaetz is getting at, right? You saw the Attorney General of the United States trying to hide behind saying, oh, those individual offices, those state offices, I have no control over what they're doing or not doing. But all Mr. Gaetz was asking was, wait a minute, no, you tell me. What communications have you or the White House, what have you had with them? He certainly can communicate that, but he doesn't want to Because you know full well, I mean, we see this issue where you've got the number 3 guy, the deputy guy, heading up to go work in the New York case. You know they've been having conversations with all of these local district attorneys. You think it's an accident that they timed the case on President Trump in New York the way they did? You think it's an accident that they set the sentencing and this judge, who, by the way, there was great questioning, I think it was by Jordan or somebody, on the extent to which, it might have been Matt, actually, who asked good questions about, wait a minute, you were a judge, Attorney General Garland. Did you take political contributions? Garland said, well, no, I didn't. Matt asked him, did your daughter, right? Did she make money? Did you have a daughter making money based on your...
It's too long a cut, but Garland says as a judge he never gave political donations. He then says that he won't comment on Judge Merchan or the hush money case. I'm like, oh, of course not.
Right, he won't. And look, I mean, if I were going to defend Garland, which I'm not inclined to do, I'd say, I mean, look, you're in a thicket here where you've got all of this mess and anybody with eyes can see it. And he's trying to kind of bounce around in the middle of it without having to answer the question. And that's actually the difficulty. I understand why the American people are frustrated. What has to happen is that in January, Lord willing, that we go out and we elect President Trump and we have the House and we have the Senate. We have to deliver. We have to deliver policy change, substantive changes, funding changes, and we have to hold people accountable.
You need listen, I'm going to be honest. You need a majority. You can't win with I guess you back up to a 2-seat majority at this point. That's not enough. The problem in your caucus is you have too many rhino Republicans that don't have a backbone and a spine. And I would argue there's at least 20 of them, which means you need a good 30-seat majority, in my view.
That is exactly right. And it's one of the reasons, look, all these primaries matter. And like, I got to be honest, without getting into it, we're electing a few too many people that are going to continue some of those kind of establishment, uniparty ways of doing things. But we got a lot of good candidates out there. We got to build a majority so that we can grow it, because we're actually moving the needle in the conservative direction. I'm hopeful that this week we'll pass this International Criminal Court rebuke where we sanction them for, throwing a warrant against Bibi Netanyahu, which could be turned around and boomeranged on us. I'm hoping that we'll unite and pass our Milcon VA spending bill. But we need to pass a continuing resolution, get it into President Trump. We need to go out and win the majority and then have a 100-day battle plan where we come in and we absolutely cut the head off of the snake that is this politicized, corrupt federal bureaucracy that is at war with the American people, at war with the rule of law, undermining our courts, undermining the judiciary, undermining our ability to actually secure the border of the United States. And we're seeing it on full display today. The president is at the mic offering a BS sham executive order that has all been, lies from the beginning. And you got the AG sitting in front of us who refuses to answer questions. I think the American people see this, but we got to deliver in November, and then we have to deliver for the people in January.
All right, quick break. More with Congressman Chip Roy of Texas on Merrick Garland testifying before Congress earlier today. Your calls coming up straight ahead, 800.
Baseball fans, BetMGM is giving you the chance to win a prize every day during the baseball season. Step into the batter's box for BetMGM's Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. Pick an area of the strike zone and take your best swing. If you get a single, double, triple, or home run, you'll receive a prize. Smash a home run to collect a bonus bet on us. Just log into your BetMGM sports account to get started. Then visit your promotion section to access the Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. You'll score a prize if you hit a single, double, triple, or home run. There's nothing more exciting than going yard, so swing for the fences with the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Washington, D.C. only. Existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary depending on market and expire 24 hours from issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, did you know one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? Now, it's in honor of that flag and what it stands for that Pure Talk is now supporting America's Warrior Partnership in their mission to prevent veteran suicide. Ask a vet. The transition to civilian life can be very difficult, especially in this economy. Access to housing, employment, even getting their earned VA benefits can be really hard. Now, that's where America's Warrior Project steps in. They provide fundamental needs to our warriors. You can help this great cause simply by switching before Flag Day to my cell phone company, Pure Talk. Now, choose a wireless company that shares your values. Upgrade your cell phone service to America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Just go to puretalk.com/Sean, S-E-A-N, to make the switch. That's puretalk.com/Sean, S-E-A-N, for superior cell phone service that's half the price of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, and you can help a vet in need. Hey, today more than ever, we're all looking for ways to save, especially on medical bills, but where do you start? Now, unless you're a medical billing expert, finding savings can seem impossible. And by the way, who has the time? Now, HealthLock is a healthcare technology company that securely connects with your family insurance and reviews your medical claims as they come in from your healthcare providers. Then HealthLock's technology flags and alerts you to any errors like overbilling or wrong codes and fraud to help you and your family save. And you can even have HealthLock work on your behalf to get money back from select past bills. Now, to date, HealthLock has helped its members save more than $130 million. Now, saving on medical bills starts with knowing where to look. HealthLock, they make it simple and easy to find and fix any hidden medical bill error. Now, to save, go to their website. It's healthlock.com. One word, healthlock.com. Do it today before you see another healthcare provider. All right, Father's Day, graduation season right around the corner. And if you're looking for a really great, unique gift, you got to check out the personalized receiver covers from my friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, they're available for Henry's Golden Boy and Golden Boy Silver rifles, which come in 3 calibers, 22 LR, 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Just go to henryusa.com and type in personalized in your search box. Well, there you're going to find a link to the product page with step-by-step instructions. They can engrave any message that you want, up to 20 words, and the process is easy, it's simple, it's affordable, and it doesn't require a gunsmith. Check out Henry's personalized receiver covers if you're looking for a great gift for dads or grads. Make sure you get their free catalog. They mail it with free decals and a list of dealers where you live. That's henryusa.com. You get the free catalog, free decals. They have 200 rifles, shotguns, revolvers to choose from, and you're going to love this company. I know I do.
Baseball fans, BetMGM is giving you the chance to win a prize every day during the baseball season. Step into the batter's box for BetMGM's Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. Pick an area of the strike zone and take your best swing. If you get a single, double, triple, or home run, you'll receive a prize. Smash a home run to collect a bonus bet on us. Just log into your BetMGM sports account to get started. Then visit your promotion section to access the Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. You'll score a prize if you hit a single, double, triple, or home run. There's nothing more exciting than going yard, so swing for the fences with the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Washington, D.C. only. Existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary depending on market and expire 24 hours from issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, did you know one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? Now, it's in honor of that flag and what it stands for that Pure Talk is now supporting America's Warrior Partnership in their mission to prevent veteran suicide. Ask a vet. The transition to civilian life can be very difficult, especially in this economy. Access to housing, employment, even getting their earned VA benefits can be really hard. Now, that's where America's Warrior Project steps in. They provide fundamental needs to our warriors. You can help this great cause simply by switching before Flag Day to my cell phone company, Pure Talk. Now, choose a wireless company that shares your values. Upgrade your cell phone service to America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Just go to puretalk.com/Sean, S-E-A-N, to make the switch. That's puretalk.com/Sean, S-E-A-N, for superior cell phone service that's half the price of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, and you can help a vet in need. Hey, today more than ever, we're all looking for ways to save, especially on medical bills, but where do you start? Now, unless you're a medical billing expert, finding savings can seem impossible. And by the way, who has the time? Now, HealthLock is a healthcare technology company that securely connects with your family insurance and reviews your medical claims as they come in from your healthcare providers. Then HealthLock's technology flags and alerts you to any errors like overbilling or wrong codes and fraud to help you and your family save. And you can even have HealthLock work on your behalf to get money back from select past bills. Now, to date, HealthLock has helped its members save more than $130 million. Now, saving on medical bills starts with knowing where to look. HealthLock, they make it simple and easy to find and fix any hidden medical bill error. Now to save, go to their website. It's healthlock.com. One word, healthlock.com. Do it today before you see another healthcare provider. All right, Father's Day, graduation season right around the corner. And if you're looking for a really great, unique gift, you got to check out the personalized receiver covers from my friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, they're available for Henry's Golden Boy and Golden Boy Silver rifles, which come in 3 calibers, 22 LR, 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Just go to henryusa.com and type in personalized in your search box. Well, there you're going to find a link to the product page with step-by-step instructions. They can engrave any message that you want, up to 20 words, and the process is easy, it's simple, it's affordable, and it doesn't require a gunsmith. Check out Henry's personalized receiver covers if you're looking for a great gift for dads or grads. Make sure you get their free catalog. They mail it with free decals and a list of dealers where you live. That's henryusa.com. You get the free catalog, free decals. They have 200 rifles, shotguns, revolvers to choose from, and you're going to love this company. I know I do. 941 Sean as we continue. We continue now. Congressman Chip Roy is with us. Of course, he was part of the Judiciary Committee grilling and beat down Merrick Garland today. All right, let's go to Jim Jordan, who you also mentioned in your piece. And this is Jordan confronting Merrick Garland, which he needs to be confronted on a lot of issues, about Jack Smith's tampering with evidence. This has to do with the Florida document case.
This guy was so important, you have to bring him from Europe back here to go after President Trump, name him as a special counsel. Do you regret the pick?
I'm sorry,
Do you regret picking him?
No, I do not regret picking him.
Well, prosecutors aren't supposed to tamper with evidence, and it looks like that's what he did. He changed the sequence of the documents that he seized from Mar-a-Lago.
I'm sorry, that's a false characterization, but that is ongoing.
Here's what he said to the court, Mr. Attorney General. There are some boxes where the order of items within the box is not the same as in the associated scans. I mean, he said it. I didn't say it. He told the court that.
Now you're asking me to comment on a discovery dispute that's ongoing in a court. I don't know the facts of it, and I'm not going to comment on it.
No, this is from Jack Smith filing with the court. He admitted to the court that they tampered with the evidence. He mishandled the very documents he's charging President Trump with mishandling. And I'm just asking, do you regret picking this guy as the special counsel in the most important special counsel investigation probably in American history?
I'm sorry, I did not hear the words tamper in the statement that Mr. Smith filed. He did not use those words.
Well, let me ask it this way. Are you supposed to change the order of the documents that you seize and the physical documents don't match up with the scanned documents? Are you supposed to do that as a prosecutor?
This is a matter in dispute, in discovery in that court, and I'm going to leave it for the district court to make a determination.
I just can't believe how we politicized and weaponized our Justice Department. These are scary times, Congressman.
No, you're right. You're right, Sean. And look, that's just a capstone on the entire day. I refuse to answer Jim's questions. They're legitimate questions. Obviously, Jack Smith acknowledged that. He's the one who put it out there. It's not in dispute in court. So it's just more of the same. But again, I think we've exposed a lot of it. Now we've got to do something with it, and we've got to actually deliver for the American people. But what's at stake is obvious. It's what you just said, Sean.
Unbelievable. All right, Congressman Chip Roy, we always appreciate you being with us, sir. Thank you. Some of the other news we haven't gotten to. I see that Maxine Waters is back in the news, wanting an investigation. She's the one, remember, get in their faces. You're not wanted any place, anywhere, anymore, blah, blah, blah. Follow them into the grocery store and the gas station, build a crowd. You know, that Maxine Waters. Now she wants an investigation to see if Trump supporters are preparing a civil war against us. You know, how do they make this crap up? Listen.
Let me just say this. I'm worried that he's so divisive and that he's talking about retribution and they're talking about revenge. And I think that that's dangerous. He's even mentioned a civil war at one point, talked about there would be bloodshed. I am going to spend some time with the criminal justice system, with the justice system, asking them, tell us what's going on with the domestic terrorists. Are they preparing a civil war against us? Should we be concerned about our safety? What is he doing with this divisive language? It is dangerous, and we're going to have to make sure that we understand that we're not at risk with this man talking in the way that he's doing. And we have got to find out what they're doing as domestic terrorists tried to take over the government January 6th. How far is this going to go? Are they going to be attacking? Whom are they going to attack? What are we going to do? I've got to get on with trying to get an investigation going about that.
About what? Is this? Let's just take a little trip down memory lane. Because if I recall correctly, she's the one that said this.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. With this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight. Unveil the criminal activity, the unconstitutional activity of this president and his family. So I have dubbed them the criminal clan a long time ago. What am I going to do to you? What I'm going to do to you is fair. I'm going to do to you what you did to us.
One other, just switching gears, and then we'll get to your phone calls, 800-941-SEAN. Linda, I know you're going to kind of disagree with me because, you once showed me a T-shirt that you wanted to wear, and I absolutely put my foot down. I'm like, you can do anything you want in your own time, but no, I don't think it's good to wear this in a video in which you're associated with me. What you do on your own time is on your own time. And it was in good humor, by the way. This was kind of funny. And I don't want to tell the whole story, but it had the B word on a T-shirt. And it was meant to be, I think it's, am I wrong in saying or characterizing this? Funny. It was meant to be funny.
Totally tongue-in-cheek, very funny.
Right. Okay. And by the way, I have a very high tolerance for, people having freedom of speech. However, in this crazy time in which we live in, where there's a million people that would love this show to just drop dead and me to drop dead and this show to go away, we've got to be a little smarter than, handing them something that they would, weaponize against us. However, it's just a sort of a thing. It's very different if you're saying it about yourself, which is what the joke was with the T-shirt, again, without giving the specifics. And versus, say, a sports commentator like Pat McAfee is kind of like the Jim Cramer of sports talk. I mean, he's kind of a buffoon to me. When I want real, intelligent, smart, fun sports talk, you know who I love. I love Stephen A. Smith. I think there's nobody better. And by the way, I've seen the ratings. I'm in TV. I see the ratings over at ESPN, and I mean, the ratings of Stephen A's First Take, are massive compared to Pat McAfee. And I think Pat McAfee can't handle the fact that Stephen A, is the number one star at ESPN. He just is. I've been number one. I've been number two. I'm usually never lower than number three in all the years I've been in cable. And I really don't mind if I'm number two, because then you get less scrutiny and attention, to be honest with you. And anyway, and I'm happy for other people's success, and I'm happy that I've had such a loyal audience and continue to have a loyal audience. And I try to keep my ego out of these things, but I think his ego's so massive he can't handle the Stephen A. success. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say that that's accurate.
Okay, so the reason I bring this up is McAfee. Now, he was defending Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark broke every college record for Iowa. One of the greatest shooters in the history of women's college basketball. She's going to be one of the biggest stars in the WNBA in history if she stays healthy, in my view. And she's now been targeted with these violent attacks on the court. And, it's just gotten downright vicious. And I think what's amazing about it is what people in the WNBA have clearly not figured out, because they don't get paid much. Caitlin Clark has a 4-year contract. Not 1 year is six figures, even her option fourth year. It's so little. Now, she'll make a fortune in endorsements, but wow, the pay is so little. Now, one of the ways that you're going to increase the pay of every player in the WNBA is to bring in stars that people want to see. And if somebody can shoot, from almost half court on a regular basis and sink a 3-point shot, it's insane. I actually would like the idea of adding a 4-point shot now because she's so good. but they've been knocking her down and beating her up and giving her a hard time. And he was defending her, but then he called her a white B word. Listen.
But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white for the Indiana team who is a superstar.
He's right about the superstar stuff, but I'm old school, Linda. You never call a word of a woman, let's put it this way. You don't use a term that begins with A, B, C, D, E, F, and you can go through the alphabet. You don't use those terms about women. I'm just old school.
Well, I mean, putting aside what you do in your private life, you really don't do them if you're on TV, radio, doing some sort of podcast. He's on YouTube. He's got kids that watch him. I'm like, I'm not sure what the example is that you're trying to set, but that's just not it. It's just not. Me wearing a T-shirt to go to bed in that I think is funny is completely different than saying on a national show, hey, and then just like blasting her. It's just, I don't know. It's definitely very, it's very crude and unnecessary. Could have gotten his point across without it.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do.
All right, let's get to our busy phones. So many of you being very, 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 very patient. Ken in the free state of Texas. Hey, Ken, how are you?
Hey, Sean, how are you doing? It's been about 8 years, buddy, since we've talked about the national debt and freeze spending.
Well, we haven't done very well in the 8 ensuing years, have we?
$1 trillion ago, yeah. Hey, listen, watching and following the trial, God almighty, I think this thing's been cooking for about 6 years. I mean, I wondered why Cohen pleaded guilty to finance campaign violations that weren't really campaign violations. I mean, in order for this trial to end the way it did, you had to have an inside guy at the Department of Justice. You had to have Cohen pleading guilty to these non-violations, and you had to have a judge that was in on it from the beginning and that could control what happened in the courtroom. And I can't wait for Chip Roy and Jordan and all those to start the hearings and looking into how these three pieces came together. And then you had Bragg, who passed on the case to begin with, and then changed his mind once he was brought into the inner circle and said, here's how it's going to go down. I can't wait for that.
Look, I can tell you that there's a lot that I know about connections, involvement, people in this case at the highest levels of the Democratic Party that would blow your mind. And it's just, I can't prove it all yet, but I know it's all true. And remember Hillary talked about a vast right-wing conspiracy? Yeah, there's been an all-out, all-hands-on-deck effort involving all of this lawfare against Donald Trump, and it's going to take a long time before we're able to untangle, the root of all of this and where a lot of this has come from and the people that are involved in it. But it's very deep and it's way more complicated than people know. And there's a lot more in terms of connections of high-ranking Democrats and their tentacles, their support, their background, pushing and manipulating. It's pretty beyond what you would think. You can't even write about it in a novel. We'll get to it over time, but there's no point. We've got 153 days till Election Day, and we just got to dial into what we can deal with. Hope that makes sense, my friend. I don't know if it does. Ken, appreciate it. Joe, South Carolina, next. Sean Hannity Show. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. What's on your mind?
Two things, if I can. First is the Supreme Court. Are they able to see this case prior to sentencing? And if so, why aren't they?
I think 100% they could, and I think that we should try. I think the first person to put forward that legal idea was the great one, Mark Levin. Others, I think, have followed. Greg Jarrett, I think, the only disagreement that Greg and Mark have is whether it should be done pre-sentencing or post-sentencing. And, maybe Greg thinking that, you're probably only going to get one shot for them to even say yay or nay on that idea, but I think so. Levin had a good idea as well, which is that, Republican state attorneys general can sue the state of New York for their lawfare against President Trump. He's written about this himself. And anyway, which would create a second wholly independent basis for paving a path to the Supreme Court. I went into great specificity and great detail about, the areas where I think that they need to be investigating. I want to know if Alvin Bragg has, whether or not what Bob Costello said is true, whether he withheld exculpatory evidence that Costello himself in a Zoom call gave him and his team. And that was before the indictment. And that information should have, once it was known, been given to the grand jury, the indicting grand jury. That didn't happen. I want to know if Biden donor Judge Merchan was obligated to recuse himself, including the family issues that we've talked at length about with the daughter. I want to know, were Donald Trump's Sixth Amendment rights violated by not telling him the crime he was charged with? I want to know if the judge, allowed prejudicial information during the trial, especially in closing arguments. I think he did. I want to know if New York even had jurisdiction on a federal election law that we didn't know about till the end of the trial. I want to know if the judge violated 2 Supreme Court decisions and jury instructions that very clearly mandate that the jury must have unanimity on all issues, and he gave them very different instructions. The latest Supreme Court case was Ramos versus Louisiana 2020. There's so many avenues for appeal, but the answer to your question, the short answer is yes, they can do exactly what you're saying, and whether it's before or after sentencing is going to be up to President Trump and his attorneys. But there's certainly that I strongly recommend they go and pursue every avenue possible, and that the justice would be a verdict on whether or not the case gets thrown out. I can't see any appeal in the end, and it could be a long drawn out process where Donald Trump is not vindicated here because of the issues I mentioned and others. Anyway, appreciate the call, my friend. 800-941-SEAN is our number. All right, that's going to wrap things up for today. Hannity tonight, 9 Eastern. Set your DVR on the Fox News channel. Loaded up tonight. Miranda Devine in the courtroom. A lot went on today as it relates to Hunter Biden and his trial. Also, we'll check in with Greg Abbott on this. All of a sudden, 153 days out of the election, immigration conversion policy of Biden. Jim Jordan on the beatdown of Garland today. And Greg Jarrett, Pete Hegseth, more. Set your DVR, 9 Eastern, Hannity on Fox. Join us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you for making this show possible.
World has eaten up and spit out a lot of young and attractive guys.
This is the story of one of fashion's dark secrets.
I was overwhelmed. I had never seen anything like this.
At the height of Abercrombie & Fitch's success.
This was me being carefully manipulated.
Being lied to, tricked, and traded like a commodity.
Investigating allegations that would take me into a world of money, sex, and power. This is World of Secrets. Season 1, The Abercrombie Guys.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Xfinity has free premium networks for everyone this month, no matter what kind of entertainment you love. Addicted to true crime? Catch killer cases and more spine-tingling shows on A&E Crime Central. Crave adventure? Explore Asian action movies on Hi-Ya. Searching for something extreme? Check out skating, snowboarding, and more on Fuel TV Plus, the global home of action sports. And find crowd-pleasing bops on iHeartRadio's Hit Nation playlist. There's new free shows and movies to love every week. Say free this week in your Xfinity voice remote.
Hollywood is under siege from an external force. Now, the same Hollywood that sold the American dream, they are now making nightmares a reality. Many major films make choices to appease the Chinese Communist Party to be distributed in China. Now you can join Tiffany Meyer, an investigative reporter, in the Hollywood Takeover, brought to you by the Epic Times, where she reveals how the CCP exerts control over some of the major studios. Now don't miss the most important documentary about Hollywood yet, and for a limited time you can watch the first 10 minutes for free at hollywoodtakeover.com/Sean, SEAN.
War, inflation, and recession. Experts are calling gold the quote-unquote everything hedge, and that's why gold just hit another record high. So what are you doing to diversify your money? Hey, it's Linda here. Join me and thousands of people who have called Goldco the #1 rated gold company. Today, Goldco is offering our listeners up to 8 years in free IRA fees, plus up to 8% in bonus silver with a qualified account. Visit HannityGold.com. That's HannityGold.com.